Today on the show, we're diving into the world of economic indicators. These are the numbers that tell us how the economy is doing, things like GDP, unemployment rates, and consumer confidence. But what do these indicators really mean? How are they calculated? And how should we interpret them? We'll break it all down for you, with the help of some experts, to make sense of the numbers that shape our world. From that day I stopped waiting for the phone to ring. I stopped expecting footsteps at my door. Instead, I began to learn how to live with silence and how to forgive without being asked. From that day, I stopped waiting for the phone to ring. I stopped expecting footsteps at my door. The silence had spoken, and I had heard it clearly. At first, the emptiness was unbearable. I would sit by the window, staring at the street, hoping to see him walk by. But the days passed, and no one came. So I began to fill my life with small joys. I tended the garden, planting flowers that reminded me of his childhood. I cooked meals for myself, even if no one else would share them. I read old letters, holding on to the words that once connected us. I learned something important. Forgiveness is not always asked for. Sometimes we must give it freely, even when no apology comes. I forgave my son, not because he deserved it, but because my heart needed peace. Carrying anger would only deepen the silence. Carrying love, even unreturned, gave me strength. Silence taught me resilience. It taught me that love doesn't vanish, even when words do. It changes shape. It becomes quieter, softer, but it remains. I began to see the silence not as rejection, but as a lesson. A lesson in letting go, in finding strength within myself, in realizing that my worth was not defined by his attention. There were nights when tears still came, nights when I whispered his name into the darkness, hoping he could hear me. But even in those moments, I found comfort in knowing that my love had not disappeared. Forgiveness became my companion, and with forgiveness came peace. Now, when I sit by the window, I don't wait for the phone to ring. I simply watch the sunlight fall across the floor. The silence is still there, but it no longer breaks me. It reminds me of the strength I found in myself now. When I sit by the window, I don't wait for the phone to ring. I don't count the hours or watch the street for footsteps that never come. Instead, I let the sunlight fall across the floor, and I breathe in the quiet. The silence is still there, but it no longer breaks me. It reminds me of the strength I found in myself. It reminds me that love, even when unspoken, still lives in the heart. I have learned that sometimes the people we love forget us, but our love for them never fades. Sometimes silence is not rejection, but simply distance. And in that distance, we discover who we are. I think of my son often. I remember his laughter, his promises, his small hand in mine. Those memories are mine to keep, and no silence can take them away. I whisper his name sometimes, not in sadness, but in love. Because love does not need words. Love exists in the quiet, in the spaces between. In the silence that once broke me, but now makes me stronger. And so, my story ends, not with anger, but with peace. Sometimes, silence breaks our hearts, but it also teaches us the strength of love unspoken.